with champagne. Pop. It's my house. Come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on.
Good morning, Chattanooga. This is Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3 The Talk Monster. Your hosts, Cindi Richardson and Jody Gatlin with the Richardson Group, KW Cleveland, home of the Offers Instantly program. Get a guaranteed offer on your home in 24 hours. Check it out at rg423.com. If you have any questions about buying, selling, or investing today, give us a call or text here at the studio, 267-1023. We're also live on the Richardson Group Facebook page this morning. If you have any questions, we have answers. Again, 267-1023 is the number to call or text. You can also find us online on our website at rg423.com. If you happen to have a question that you think of when we're not on the air or during the middle of the week, give us a call at our office, 790-7979, and a member of our team will be happy to help with you of any of your real estate needs. Oh, I can't talk this morning.
Hey, Jack. I was like, man, we're rubbing off on Jack a little bit.
Apparently you are.
It was all those commercials beforehand.
And it's so stinking cold outside, I can't even think straight.
I don't think my mouth has kind of thawed out yet.
Yeah, it's like 26 degrees outside right now.
Gosh, ridiculous. Is it supposed to get any better, Jesse?
I have to double check.
I think we might get up to a whopping 30-something.
And y'all know how it works. I mean, us realtors, we just drive pretty cars and look at nice houses. Or I got that backwards, right? But it always seems people need you when it's 20 degrees outside. Seems
That's when they
way,
want to go
right?
look.
Absolutely.
At land.
Absolutely. Or new construction. And add some rain in there, and that's perfect, right?
Right.
So what do we got on the agenda today?
Well, probably one of the most asked questions that people are asking right now is, what is my home worth? So you're hearing all kinds of things out there about what your neighbor's house is bringing and what the market's doing, multiple offers, people paying over asking price.
We talked about that a little bit last week. Well, not a little bit, a lot. We talked about that the whole time last week, about multiple offers and how you win that situation. And one of the big topics that we discussed was home values and appraisals and ways that you could make your offer beat somebody else. And the way that we did that was, one of the big things was appraisal. I know that's something that you heard us talk about over and over again. So how important is that, Cindi?
Oh, it's very important, especially if your contract to purchase is contingent on the appraisal. Then, I mean, it has to appraise for the contract price. Or if your offer is contingent on a loan approval that is based on an appraisal.
And let's break that down just a little bit, just for people that are not familiar with the process. When we say contingent, your offer is contingent on something. It means that you can't move forward until that item is satisfied. Now,
correct.
Some things like I can say I want to do a home inspection, and if I decide I don't want to, no problem.
Correct.
But with an appraisal, especially if you're getting a loan, basically the bank wants to know that the property they're loaning you money on is worth the amount of money that they're loaning you for it. So saying that, if you're paying cash, you absolutely can still have a contract that's contingent on an appraisal. But if you're getting a loan, what would you say? 90% of the time, you're going to have an appraisal that justifies value.
Probably a little more than that. I'd probably say 95. Even when you hear people say they get cash offers, a cash offer can still be contingent on an appraisal. So the only advantage is that you know that your buyer has cash, so they can pay above appraisal if they choose to. So just because someone's paying cash doesn't necessarily mean that they are not getting an appraisal.
And that we talked about that last week. That's one of the things I think that we're seeing now that we didn't see when the market was so great is appraisal gaps and people bringing money to pay more than what a property appraises for.
Correct.
So you want to talk about who we got with us here?
Yeah. Jack, you want to introduce him?
I do. Today we had to dig around and find someone to come and do this. And then we finally realized that we know the perfect person to come and do this. We've got Chuck Martin with us. Chuck is a licensed appraiser here in the Chattanooga area. Chuck, why don't you tell us a little about yourself, kind of what you do?
Well, good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear myself in these.
Chuck's hiding over here, too, on Facebook Live. So if you guys can't see him, he's over here. We'll make him pop in the camera.
He's staying 6 foot away.
He's being good.
Yeah, my wife is immunocompromised, so I get to stay away from everybody, too. I don't really look good on TV. They say the camera adds 10 pounds. Well, the radio adds 50 pounds. And
you've got a face for radio?
Yeah, I do.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you guys are absolutely correct with appraising properties, those kind of things.
And that's all you do, right? Just an appraisal.
I do. I do have my real estate license, but I only
Perfect.
list and sell for people that I.
And I made that sound bad, like that's all you do. I didn't mean for that to sound the
But,
way
yeah,
it sounded, but that
it's
is
the majority
that's
of-
your specialty, correct?
It is the majority of how I make money. Yes,
And how long have you been in this game?
15 years.
Wow.
Been appraising for 15 years this year, and it's funny. A lot of people don't know our relationship, the relationship that I have with the Richardson team. I have been, you guys have called me for 15 years when you get houses.
My entire career, yeah.
Yeah. So when there are times that realtors will say, well, I don't know what this thing is worth. Let's just throw a number out there. But you guys never do that. You guys say, you know what? This one is hard for us to comp. So let us get an appraisal for you so we'll know exactly where it is. And that's the best way to do it because, number one, you have an appraisal. You know it's going to appraise for at least whatever that market value was back then. And the average days on market now for Hamilton, Bradley, Meigs, McMinn, Polk, Ray County, Catoosa County in Georgia, Walker County is 0 to 90 days. So the most important thing to remember is this: if you're interviewing realtors, don't go with the one that says, "Oh, I can get you the most money," because they're just trying to get you to sign the piece of paper. Go with the one that has the most knowledge, that knows exactly, because the first offering on the market is where the house is going to sell, and it, like you say, usually sells above asking price. I had one this year, or last year now, sold for $30,000 above asking price, and it didn't appraise. I mean, it wouldn't. It was, but the people didn't care, because we get a lot of people that are coming into Tennessee from Georgia, or from California, from Washington. All of those places, I can't see them. Am I supposed to be doing something else?
No,
you're good.
You're
Don't do anything.
You're
From
good.
California, New York, New Jersey, all those places where they have state income tax.
And our high home prices don't seem high.
Our high home prices are still well below the national average. And one question I get 9 times out of 10 is people say, "Oh, are we in another bubble? Are we in another bubble?" No, we're not. Our prices are just adjusting closer to the national average.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we get that a lot too, like, oh, when it crashes, when the market crashes, and we don't see that happening. You know, we talked about it a little bit last time too. Interest rates are going to go up and inventory is going to increase, but definitely
Days on markets will go up, but even back when the market did crash in 2007, 2008, our property values in this area stayed the same. They didn't increase. The average increase is 3% a year. They didn't increase at all. They just stayed static. But there was no decrease in market values in this area. California, all those places that have inflated prices, those are the ones that took the big hits.
Yeah.
In the market correction.
Yeah. So what is an appraisal?
An appraisal is just an opinion of value.
Okay. So if I have 3 different appraisals on my home, am I likely to get 3 different numbers?
Yes, but they'll all be really, really close. Appraisers have what's called appraiser discretion on the way they measure your house. That can vary from appraiser to appraiser. Some appraisers are not as well versed in pulling actual comparable properties with your property.
And what do you mean by comparables? For somebody that doesn't understand what that is, what is a comparable?
A comparable property, idealistically, and when you're taking appraisal classes, it always works. They have a house that is exactly the same square footage, that has exactly the same amenities, and amenities like covered porches, decks, patios, in-ground pools, those kind of things. So a comparable property is something that brackets one thing or more of the subject property. So I might have to find a house that it may not be have the same square footage, a 2,000 square foot house, and mine might be 1,800. It's still a comparable house if it has a pool or it's in the subdivision or something like that. These are houses that once we had made adjustments, they become head-to-head competing listings, and that's where we come up with
and the homes must be sold, correct? We're not.
Yeah.
You might look at actives or homes that expired, but solds are where you are putting your opinion, correct?
And that's important to know. For the general public, just because your neighbor's house is on the market for X amount of dollars, we can't use it till it sells. That's
correct.
Not
and
included.
and homes that didn't sell are important too. So if you've had 3 homes similar to yours in your subdivision that all sold for $500,000, and you have one that did not sell that was $550,000, well, that right there tells you where you're probably going to come in at.
Guys, real cool. We've actually got a call coming in right now. Tom, how are you doing today?
Doing good, thank you. Hope you guys are too.
Hey, Tom, what can we do for you?
Just got a question about appraisals. I just tuned in. Wasn't sure if this may have already been covered or not, or if you plan on covering it. But say I go to sell my house and it needs to be appraised. Does the seller pick the appraisal, or the real estate agent or buyer pick the appraiser?
No, it is the buyer's lender that picks the appraisal. And there is actually a way that it works now where nobody really has a lot of influence in who gets the appraisal.
Basically, they're in a hat.
Once the lender orders it, it goes out to a third-party company that then is going to choose from that lender's approved list. So it's going to go to one of the appraisers on that list. And it's the bank that orders it and owns the appraisal.
So the buyer technically pays for it, correct?
Okay.
Yes, the buyer pays for it.
We
but
don't
the lender
recommend
owns
necessarily that you do it before you list your home, unless there's a question
Correct.
of value.
And since an appraisal is an opinion of value, what you get prior to getting a contract could be very different with what you end up with in the end.
Okay.
We get it right, Chuck?
I'm blown away. Yeah, those are great.
Okay.
That's the absolute truth, Tom. No one gets to pick me, and the reason why is because if you say, hey, I want Chuck Martin to do my appraisal, then the lender perks up and says, well, how do you know Chuck Martin? Maybe you and him are conspiring. So
We want to ensure there's no bias,
Yeah, appraisers have to stay unbiased. And now we can talk after the appraisal is finished. We can talk as long as the lender gives me the ability to talk to you about how I arrived at the opinion of value. But to answer your question, if you don't know what your house is worth, then you can always order an appraisal yourself. It's just not one that a bank would accept because it's on a different form.
And what you get versus what the bank gets sometimes is a different, because they're looking for justification of a sales price.
And you as a seller are not going to know what it appraised for unless that buyer shares it with you. So you'll know that it appraised good with no repairs is what they say to us, which means it appraised for at least the contract price, and the appraiser is not calling for any repairs to give that value. The only time that you're going to be able to see it is if there is a problem. Then you're likely to get to see the appraisal.
Okay, so what is a couple more questions there? Your comment prompted another one. Okay, number one, what if the seller disagrees with the appraisal? And then the next question is, if I wanted to sell my house with a contingency that I'm not doing any repairs. I mean, if something, I know there's nothing major wrong with it, but if there's something minor and nitpicky and it's just some sort of a regulatory requirement or something, but and it's a few $100, I'm going to be able to list my house saying, the buyer assumes any those kinds of liabilities.
The way that Tennessee contracts are wrote, once a buyer has done all the inspections they want to do, they have 3 options. They can terminate the agreement and walk away from the contract. They can accept the property as is, or they can ask for repairs. That doesn't mean you're obligated to do those repairs. During the resolution period, you're going to negotiate back and forth till you come to a meeting. If you cannot come to a meeting of the minds, the contract will automatically terminate. And there's another option that says that they will only accept or reject.
Take it or leave
Take it or leave it, and will not ask for any repairs.
And we don't recommend that somebody say, I'm not doing any repairs, because a lot of times you'll get a request, like you said, that they want you to put 3 GFCI protected outlets in a home. That's not a huge expense. So, we would love to talk to you more if that's something you're interested in, and we're happy to walk you through that process for sure.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Bye.
All right, guys, we're going to step away and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have more with Chuck Martin, the appraiser extraordinaire. This is Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3.
We talk Chattanooga, live, local, and listening to you. 102.3 FM.
When it comes to all your plumbing needs, I trust Southeast Total Service to get your household back to normal fast. Their revolutionary blue light technology will fix problems from inside the pipes instead of digging up your yard or driveway, saving you a ton of money on repairs. So for all your residential and commercial plumbing needs, I'm talking drains, sewer, clogs, water heaters, and toilets, call 499-2911 or Google Southeast Total Service, everything plumbing.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Hear one of rock's most iconic albums in its entirety. The Black Jacket Symphony performs the Beatles' White Album this Saturday for one show only at the Tivoli Theater.
You say you want a revolution.
There are only a few tickets left, so get yours now. The Black Jacket Symphony performs the Beatles' White Album song for song, note for note, this Saturday at the Tivoli Theater. Get your ticket today before they're gone.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3. We would love to hear more of your real estate questions this morning. Call or text us at 267-1023. We're also live on the Richardson Group Facebook page, and you're welcome to ask questions there also. If you happen to have a real estate question that you would like to discuss off the air or during the middle of the week, give us a call at our office, 790-7979, and a member of our team will be happy to help you with any of your real estate needs. We're back with Chuck Martin, the vindicator of value for your home.
I like it. I think we should put that on a shirt. Vindicator of value.
Thank you, Chuck, for getting up and coming in this morning.
Oh, definitely.
We appreciate
it. Now, it's your company. Chuck Martin just told you how much your house is worth. Go away and deal with it, LLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay, so we talked about comparables and how comparable are homes that are similar to your home that have sold. Now, how recent does that sale need to be?
Let me go back to one question Tom had that we kind of went over. What happens if the seller disagrees with the appraisal?
Yes.
Just wanted to tell you, Tom, if you're still listening, if 99% of the time the seller will disagree with the appraised value, unless it comes in at contract price. So it doesn't matter. The appraised price is the appraised value, and the seller actually could pay for another appraisal, but it would have to be another appraiser from the approved list of that lender. So you can, if you disagree with it, you can tell the buyer's agent, and the buyer's agent can get you hooked up with a lender who would let you pay for your own appraisal. Now, okay, Cindy.
Okay, so comparable sales, when you're looking for similar homes that have sold, preferably within the subdivision, how recent do those sales need to be?
Well, now it's not really difficult to find very recent sales, but they usually like to see sales within 90 days.
Okay.
6 months is not unusual to find a sale. You know, that goes back.
So if I have one that sold within the last 30 days, but then I have another one that sold 6-8 months ago, are you going to look more at the more recent sale?
No, that doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. So as long as it's within that 6 month time frame.
Yeah, but you have to understand, because of the market and the market volatility that we've been discussing off the air, there will be a date of sale time adjustment that will need to go to the older one to bring it up to the current market.
And let me touch for just a second. We have a caller, so I won't talk long, but we are talking a lot about adjustments. Basically, when a home is not exactly like the subject property, Chuck or an appraiser is going to make adjustments to either bring the price down or up so that the comparable home is more similar to the subject home. So
Exactly.
just for
so
those
an
of you guys,
example would be like if your home is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and every home in your subdivision that is sold is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, then he is going to deduct a bath off of the homes that have sold.
Value.
And then how much do you typically deduct for a bath in a home that's probably $250,000?
$250,000, probably around $4,000
for a full bath.
Yeah.
So you can see that adjustment's not the cost of putting the bath in, but it will make a difference on your overall price.
All right, so we've got a caller. Stan is on the line. Stan, welcome to Real Estate Today with Cindy and Jody.
Hey, Stan.
Good morning.
Hey.
I'm right in that same category you're talking about now. Appraisals versus comparisons, and how do they work in? I can understand it in a community or development where they're all similar, at least built by the same person or something to that effect. But what about if you're in a mixed community, an older community where there's older homes that are smaller maybe or bigger, and then you have a newer home that's either bigger or smaller.
And nowadays,
say more bedrooms or bathrooms or whatever, as well as the size of the home and possibly the lot.
And we're seeing that more frequently now just because there's not a lot of lots. So you may have an older subdivision with a brand new home in an older subdivision.
We'll let the expert answer that.
Chuck,
Go ahead, Chuck.
what's the verdict there?
Stan?
Well, how does the comparisons work in that case? I mean, you're talking about apples and oranges in the same neighborhood. How do you make your comparisons, and how do they fluctuate?
And the easiest way for me to explain this to you in a subdivision, we have several subdivisions that have that exact same thing. They started out smaller houses, and you'll see a lot of developers do that. And then when they get near the back, they're brand new and they're huge houses. But I will look for a comparable for the subject for your house. If your house is the one that's for sale, I'll look for a comparable in your subdivision. And if I can't find something that's similar age, similar size, that is similar to yours, I'm not bound to stick in your subdivision. I am bound to find the most similar head-to-head comparable that I can find. So I'll have to go out of your subdivision. That's no big deal. Lender, we do it all the time. I'm going to find houses that are the most similar houses to yours. So I wouldn't use, and that's a fear that a lot of people have, Stan. If they have a house that gets foreclosed on in their subdivision, they're like, oh my God, our market values just went down. And that's not true. one foreclosure is not going to upset the market at all in your area. You have to have the most similar head-to-head competitors in the appraisal process.
And you do use a certain area.
How far from the subdivision do you go to make those comparisons?
As far as I need to.
You do try to stick in a certain area if you can find it, correct? I mean, in a similar area, and if you can't, you just keep going out till you find it, right?
Right, yeah. Stan, do you live in the country?
I live in Saudi Daisy, out in the northern end.
Usually when I'm appraising in Saudi Daisy, it's usually a 5-mile radius. If it's not in a subdivision, usually around 5 to 6 miles to find head-to-head competitors. But it all depends. You know, if I'm appraising downtown Chattanooga, there are some urban areas in downtown Chattanooga, and if it's urban, they want 3 sales within a half mile. So it all depends on what you're appraising as to how far you can go. But I will go as far out as I need to go to find the most similar head-to-head comparables available.
Yeah, because there are subdivisions popping up all over the place, but then there's older neighborhoods like mine where you've got things that were built many years ago and they're much smaller or much different, but for example, they may have acreage with them as opposed to a larger house. So the comparisons might be very different.
Sure, exactly. Yep. We take all that into consideration. It's like there are 2 different ages of a house. There's the actual age, the age it was built, and then there's what's called the effective age, which is the remaining economic life that a house has. So if it has updates, like if it has recently had a new roof put on it, or if it's had a new HVAC, those kind of things, that lowers the effective age of the house. So I don't just look at the year it was built. I look at the updates and of the major components especially. But you want to be careful. You want, before you do anything to your home, you want to talk. If you are wanting to increase value, you want to be careful, especially if you're going to sell it. Talk to your agent before you do things, because a lot of things people think add value will not add value. It's kind of like the 97-year-old lady that got a facelift, and now she looks like a 27-year-old lizard.
Did that help answer your question, Stan?
That did, because I've heard about comparables. Well, comparables in my general area are not the same, but not far away, within a mile or so, there are new developments popping up. And those houses are priced differently than the houses in the neighborhood, and yet in the neighborhood, every once in a while, there's a piece of vacant land or somebody subdivides a piece of land, and a new house goes in that's appraised or sells for much more than you might get appraised for in your house. And I was concerned about why that would be that way.
Well, the good news is that's very common right now.
Especially right now, since land is so hard to find for people to build on, that's very common and going to continue that.
Stan, we appreciate you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Stan. Guys, we're going to step away and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking with Chuck Martin, one of our local great real estate appraisers in the area. This is Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3, The Talk Monster.
WGOW. Calling out the fake news.
I don't think they're being honest with us.
Talk Radio 102.3, WGOW FM.
At Granite Garage Floors of Chattanooga, we love floors. Garage floors, utility rooms, kitchens, craft rooms, porches, basements, showrooms, bar areas, HVAC areas, game rooms. Did we say garage? The list goes on and on. Call Dan Manager for your free estimate today. 423-592-3131. Durable, easy maintenance, and yes, a lifetime satisfaction guarantee. Granite Garage Floors, 592-3131.
Hey, this is Jim Reynolds, and I want to tell you about my friend Dan Miniger, the Danimal, and his company, Granite Garage Floors of Chattanooga. I've said a lot of bad things about Dan over the last 20 years, and many of them are true, but I'll say this. You can trust the guy. If you want a garage, porch, or basement floor makeover that's industrial quality, easy to clean, and comes with a lifetime warranty, call Dan and his team at Granite Garage Floors. Area code 423-592-3131 or GraniteGarageFloors.com, Chattanooga.
Professional football playoffs are in full gear, and everyone can get in on the action with a risk-free bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. All customers get up to $10 back if your same-game parlay doesn't win. Same-game parlays let you combine multiple bets from one matchup for a big payout. You can combine bets on the money line, point spread, player stats, and so much more. FanDuel Sportsbook is the market leader, America's #1 sportsbook. It's easy to use and easy to place your bet. Fast payouts get paid in as little as 24 hours. If you already have an account, just place your risk-free same-game parlay on any divisional round game to qualify. New customers, join today with promo code COWBOY to get your risk-free bet. Plus, if it's your first time betting with FanDuel, you can enjoy 30-1 odds on any team in the divisional round to win after using promo code COWBOY. You can turn a $5 bet into $150. That's promo code COWBOY. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee to bet. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable stock credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call our Tennessee Red Line. 1-800-889-9789.
Don Ledford Automotive, the fastest growing used car dealership in East Tennessee, has over 250 models, pre-owned trucks, late model cars, and all makes and hard to find cars like SUVs, sports cars, and more, offering you the highest trade-in allowances. If they don't have it, let them find it for you. Be part of the Don Ledford family at 4595 North Lee Highway in Cleveland, or check out their inventory online at donledford.com. Don Ledford Automotive, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC. Check out the dealer that always says yes.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com. Or call 1-800-633-9110.
Hear one of rock's most iconic albums in its entirety. The Black Jacket Symphony performs the Beatles' White Album this Saturday for one show only at the Tivoli Theater.
You say you want a revolution.
There are only a few tickets left, so get yours now. The Black Jacket Symphony performs the Beatles' White Album song for song, note for note, this Saturday at the Tivoli Theater. Get your ticket today before they're gone.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Welcome back to Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3. We would love to hear your real estate questions. Call or text us at 267-1023. We're also live on the Richardson Group Facebook page, and you're welcome to ask questions there. If you happen to have a question you think of after we go off the air, like you're in the middle of the week, give us a call at our office, 790-7979, and we would love to be able to help you with any of your real estate questions. You had a follow-up to something that Stan asked or mentioned in the previous segment.
Yeah, Stan, when you were talking about new constructions being built around you in subdivisions close to you, new subdivisions, do know that that does help your value too. So if you are one of the older homes, that is going to help increase the price of your home. Not that they're a direct comparable, but those alone will help push up the values in the area.
Right, because the area is becoming really popular. So a popular area will raise home values because people want to be in that area. Hey, Jesse.
Yep.
Did that was Meatloaf that we were playing, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
He passed this week, didn't he?
He did. That's kind of why I'm playing some of this.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, he was awesome.
Yeah,
we appreciate having it on the show today.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to thank you for that.
Chuck's reliving his glory days over here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, we touched just a little bit on what adjustments are. So that's when you're adjusting a home sale to be similar to your home, the home that you are appraising. So for something, some things that would add value and not add value. What if someone changes out their countertops? What if I have granite countertops instead of Formica? Is that going to make a difference in the value?
Not directly, not for that one thing. However, that will allow me to go to a house that has granite countertops to use it as a comparable versus staying with Formica countertops. Now, you need to kind of stay in the price range that you're at. It doesn't matter if you're in a $200,000 house. Don't put gold toilets in and expect it to be $350,000.
We try to make it a point too when we list someone's home to explain the difference between things that help it sell and things that bring you more money. So something that makes it look better might make it sell faster or for more money, quote unquote, but it's not necessarily going to bring you a return on your investment.
Chuck, what about something like if somebody replaces their central heat and air unit?
Yes, that lowers the effective age because the central heat and air unit is a very high ticket
But you're
item.
not going to get more than your neighbor's home just because you have the central heat and air unit.
No, but it'll sell quicker.
Yes.
It's called the theory of substitution. If it should be called the theory of human nature, because nobody's going to pay you what it costs you to do. That may cost you $10,000 to put a new heating and air conditioning unit in, but it may raise the value of your house $5,000.
Right.
Somebody may give
and
you
that kind of falls into the general maintenance too. So if your home is getting close to somewhere between 10 and 15 years old, it may be time to replace your central heat and air unit. So that is just part of the maintenance, because if you go into a home that hasn't been maintained, are you going to devalue it compared to homes that are maintained?
Yeah, it's called deferred maintenance.
Okay.
And you need to, a house is living, breathing thing. It needs to be taken care of. And I'm not talking about clutter or any of that stuff. I'm talking about if you start seeing a spot on your ceiling and you know that your roof's leaking, get that fixed. Don't delay. Get somebody out there to look at that, because that's going to make a difference, and it's only going to get worse.
Right.
Deferred maintenance is you've lived in the house 10, 12, 15 years, the carpet's old, or some things may be out of style. I don't deduct for blue bathrooms or pink bathrooms for houses that were built in the 50s. There's no deduction there because that's what people are expecting in those houses,
We did get a question on the Facebook Live. How about adding a custom deck?
Custom decks, just remember this. Decks are decks. If they're 10 by 10 or if they're 20 by 10 or a deck will only add value up to a certain amount. And the numbers that I give on the radio are just estimates. But usually a deck, if it's a covered deck, it's going to add about $1,000. And again, you can't build it for that. But if somebody could build it for that, then they would do that and have a brand new deck versus buying the one that you built 5 years ago.
And that's a good example of something that would help it sell. And I tell sellers a lot of times, if it's something you would love, if you decided you didn't want to sell this house and you would love that, then go ahead and do it. Just don't expect it to bring back what you paid for it.
It's going to help with the sellability,
help sell it.
just not necessarily
marketability
the
and
value.
all of
Now,
that.
on the deck, does decking material make a difference?
If it's Trek versus wood or what's
that is actually cosmetic. Isn't that crazy? I mean, for the difference in the prices. Let me tell this real quick story. When my wife and I bought our house in Ooltewah 2.5 years ago, we put in a swimming pool and a fence, and we spent about $35,000 doing that in a little pavilion thing. And my wife was like, "Hey, so we just increased our value $30,000." And I said, "No, hon, we just lost about $20,000." And she was like, "Then why did we do it?" I said, "For the utility of it, because we have a pool and we've got a fence and we can let our dogs out." And that's the thing. The utility is, I mean, if you want to build a custom deck, go for it. If you use it, if you entertain, do it. You know, I didn't put that pool and the fence to increase the value of my house. And it did increase the value of my house, but it didn't increase the value as much as I spent on it.
And it did increase the marketability and the sellability for sure, because I would much rather have a home with a new Trex deck versus a home with a deck that's falling in and has deferred maintenance issues. So not necessarily a bad thing. Just know that you're not always going to get back everything that you put in it.
And then basements, how much value does a basement add? Because I know that anytime I have an appraisal come back low, it's because we've probably overvalued the basement.
And is the basement square footage priced differently? I hate to say worth, but is it appraised differently than main level or upper level square footage?
Yeah. Here's where you and I differ. You guys talk about price per square foot when you're talking to sellers and buyers. You talk about that. And it's usually in the $150, $200 range, maybe $100 a square foot. But as appraisers, we don't allow that much for square footage in a home, because when you guys are talking about square footage, you're talking about the square footage, you're talking about the house, you're talking about all the updates, you're talking about the land that it sits on, and you just bring it into that one number. Appraisers have to separate all of those things. And so a basement, Fannie Mae says that if 1 inch of a level of your house is below grade, that entire level is considered basement. And if upstairs, I'm just using this as round numbers so people can know, if your upstairs square footage is bringing $100 a square foot, the finished basement would bring around $50 a square foot. Unfinished basement would bring about $25 a square foot. So it's usually half and a quarter of what the upstairs brings.
Okay. And that's important to know, because if you take a total home and it has a finished basement, you've got all this square footage, but your price per square foot is going to look lower than your neighbor who doesn't have a basement. And that's important to know, because when you see that your neighbor's house sold and it was X amount of dollars a square foot, and you want to know why yours doesn't come in at the same, well, if mine was the same price per square foot as theirs, you would be priced so significantly higher if that basement square footage was appraised at the same rate.
Exactly.
So important to know.
Yeah. And the reason that is because the neighbor probably had a crawl space which was 4 or 5 blocks high anyway. So the difference that you're getting in a basement, which is great, I'm all for basements, but basement square footage still has to take into consideration the house was going to need a foundation anyway.
Right.
So that's why you get less per square foot for the basements.
Makes sense.
Guys, we're going to step away another quick break. When we come back on Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody, we're going to finish up with Chuck Martin and kind of dig into what are
Make a difference. Make a call.
On Talk Radio 102.3.
Join us every Saturday for Family Financial Radio with Ron and Christy Adams. For more information or to schedule a consultation, visit onefamilyfinancial.com and check out Family Financial Radio, Saturdays at noon on Talk Radio 102.3.
Hey, this is Quake for my friend Kay Keefe from the Keefe family at Keefe Plumbing.
They want to remind you that cold spells this time of year can cause problems. Keefe Plumbing offers solutions with water heater checks and services anytime. Call Keefe for relief, 622-3178. Kay Keefe is a third-generation plumber, so like her dad and her grandfather before her, for over 70 years, the Keefe family has got you covered when it comes to plumbing issues. 622-3178. If you've ever considered converting your electric water heater to gas, Keefe Plumbing can help you out and do it right. They also offer on-demand water heating system installation. Let's face it, they're the pros pro when it comes to any kind of issues with your plumbing. In other words, Keefe Plumbing has Chattanooga covered. Winterize your property's plumbing before the cold weather hits. Call Keefe Plumbing, 622-3178. That's Keefe for relief, 622-3178. Keefe Plumbing, family owned and operated since 1950. There's no doubt they have Chattanooga's back. Keefe Plumbing, 622-3178. And tell them the Talk Monster sent you.
Plainview Outdoor Advertising is your locally owned and operated billboard company with more than 150 years of combined industry experience. Plainview's expert sales team helps advertisers make the most of their budget, and their full-time billboard technicians keep their billboards looking crisp and clear. Find out why billboards prompt 40% of their viewers to visit a business they see advertised. Plainview knows local because they are local. Call today at 423-622-4100 or visit plainviewoutdoor.com for more information.
The Market Roller Coaster is back. Find out what it means for your retirement on Retirement Straight Talk with Morgan Hill, Sunday at 10, right here on the Talk Monster.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Well, John, the stage is set for the final transaction.
That's right, Joe. Heather's moment has arrived, and you just hope all that training pays off.
Heather lays down her purchase, but Randy rings it up as slowly as he can.
He is a wily veteran.
It gives Heather's eyes the chance to wander. Uh-oh. Yep, she's looking at the cigarettes.
There's nothing good back there. Quit now, and in 5 years, your odds of getting certain cancers drop 50%.
Meanwhile, Randy's stone-faced. He's giving nothing away. He just stands there, wetting his cashier's finger on that sponge.
Heather toes the rubber.
Here we go. Heather's arm is in motion. But instead of pointing at the back wall, she just grabs the gum off the counter.
That's a slick move.
Heather, back, back, back. She is out of there. Even Randy tips his cap to Heather. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally wants you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Tired of living with chronic pain? Who isn't? I'm talking about knee pain, joint pain. Well, listen carefully because there are now new treatments available here. I'm not talking about surgery, and I'm not talking about steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. This is Jim Reynolds, and QC Kinetics, the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, back, joint pain that just won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. QC Kinetic, area code 423-397-6628. Again, 423-397-6628.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down.
Welcome back to Real Estate Today with Cindi and Jody on Talk Radio 102.3. We'd love to hear your real estate questions. Call or text 267-1023. We're also live on the Richardson Group Facebook page, and you're welcome to ask questions there. Guys, we've appreciated the calls and questions today. We've also appreciated the questions we got on Facebook Live. One of the things for us, if you have a question and you don't want to call into the radio station, but it's something you have been thinking about in real estate or kind of want to know more about, go to our Facebook page, Richardson Group KW Cleveland. Send us a message, and we would love to be able to take care of that stuff on the air for you guys later as we go. We're wrapping up this morning with Chuck Martin, great, amazing appraiser here in the area. And I don't see we've still got a couple more questions for Chuck before we get out of here. So,
well, we're kind of running out of time. So, Chuck, what can people do to their homes to actually increase the value?
That's a trick question. What they need to do is they need to call you guys and they need to get expert opinions before they do anything. Because,
Amen.
And a perfect example, I said my wife and I bought a house 2.5 years ago. Well, the reason the house that we sold in Cleveland was on 14th Street. And I had just gotten an appraisal. I can't appraise it myself. And my house had, it was not a good appraisal. It was somebody that didn't know my house was in the historic district, and the appraisal was low, but it sold in 4 hours, and Jody Gatlin is the one that sold it for me. So they know what they're doing, So I highly recommend people call you.
And we can help you a lot. We appreciate you too, Chuck. I actually wanted Chuck's house. I'm a little bitter, but anyway, we want to help you get the most that you possibly can, and a lot of that is being strategic. Again, do things that you love that make you happy with your home, but they're not always going to bring back the biggest return. So let us talk to you about your situation, what your timeline looks like, and we can work together to let you know the best use of your money. Because a lot of times, wouldn't you say, Cindy, a lot of times people think what they need to do is not really what's the most important.
Yeah.
So things like deferred maintenance, big ticket items, those
if
are
you're thinking
important.
about selling your home in the near future or even this year at any point, you may want to just have us come visit so we can talk about what you should put your time and energy into, and it may not be exactly what you're thinking. Because like she said, some things you're going to do for yourself, for your livability, and then there are some things that you can do to help it sell quicker that will give it value.
Cindy, do you charge for that?
No, absolutely not.
And zero pressure, truthfully. I'm not doing my job, and I'm not going to have the referrals and repeat clients that we're fortunate enough to by twisting people's arms into doing things they don't want to do. We're literally going to give you all the information, let you make an educated decision. Definitely. That's what we're here for.
So, Chuck, with so many multiple offers coming in on homes right now, how often are you seeing people that are allowing appraisal gaps or paying more than the appraised value?
It happens all the time. Right now, it is not unusual for a house to be on the market for a day with multiple offers and $30,000 above asking price. I had one, like I said, sold last year, $30,000 above asking price. The people that are coming in, they have cash.
Okay.
And so it doesn't matter necessarily if it appraises or not. The bank just wants their percentage to be a certain percent of how much they put in it.
Right.
And these buyers are bringing the extra money to the table to buy those houses.
Are you seeing in certain price ranges where they're going over asking price? Is that across the board, or are you seeing that more in homes priced under $300,000?
No, I see it not across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great information. So, again, keep in mind we can get you in touch with Chuck if need be. Feel free to call our office anytime. We're here to help you.
And then thank you, Chuck, for coming in
so
today.
Much.
Yeah, no
definitely.
problem.
Thank you. Yeah, Jody, I'm sorry about that. That was my buyer that you actually took out to his house.
Yeah, so that I'll be super, super quick because we have like 30 seconds. I was in the market for a house. Love the area. Have always loved Chuck's house. Jack wasn't feeling well, so I offered to let his buyer come to my showing appointment for myself, and he bought the house, and I cried the whole way back. So, but I'm happy for Chuck. It was a great house. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, everybody, thanks so much for listening today. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for all the questions on Facebook Live. If you guys need anything else, please remember during the week, 790-7979 is going to get you in touch with our office. Thanks. Hope you guys have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jesse.
See ya.